Did you see that?
Not everything caught on camera can be explained. People acting in terrifying ways, things moving on their own, and bone-chilling entities captured on camera. What you're about to see are the most unsettling videos on the internet.
It's been circling it in circles for so long.
This camera caught one of the most unbelievable moments ever. It was a normal sunny day when a sudden light mysteriously flashed in the sky. And what happened next will stun you. A man in a black hood mysteriously dropped on the bench. It looked like he had dropped from the sky. What's even stranger is that there were no tall buildings nearby that he would have jumped from. And as soon as the man fell, he simply got up like nothing strange had just happened. Terrifying invisible force. No one has been able to explain this bone-chilling footage. A couple was getting off the bike when suddenly something pulled the woman down. She tried to resist it, but an invisible force kept pulling her with unnatural strength. Even as the guy tried to drag his girlfriend back, he couldn't free her from the invisible entity's grasp. So he held on to her tightly, but despite all his efforts, the entity dragged her away. Eerie transformation. No one has been able to explain this unsettling footage. A bird flew in and sat on top of a pole. Everything seemed ordinary until it stretched its wings upward. That's when something truly unexplainable happened. The bird transformed, and another set of wings emerged from its body. Then, without a single flap, the bird began to levitate, hovering in place with its wings fully extended. After a few seconds, it shot straight into the sky, like it was being pulled by something invisible. And it's truly a mystery how that bird had transformed completely. Creepy woman. At first, the footage looked like any day during a school performance. All the parents were sitting in the auditorium, watching the stage. As the camera panned across the crowd, it captured a woman whose neck was twisted unnaturally to the side, and she had an unsettling smile on her face. Just seconds later, she snapped out of it, like she had just broken out of a trance, and no one around her seemed to notice her unsettling behavior. Terrifying customer. It was late at night, and a man was quietly working at his food stall in Malaysia when a woman approached him. But this was no ordinary customer. Her eyes were pale, completely white, with no pupils at all, and her mouth was even more disturbing. A huge grim-like mark was on her face that stretched unnaturally to one side. She looked exactly like the stories of Chirail, who is part of the local folklore. She stood very still and kept staring right at the camera without blinking once. The man didn't look up and avoided eye contact completely, because in many Southeast Asian beliefs, looking into the eyes of a Chirail allows her to take control of you. Strange woman. This visual is a head-turner, but not in the way you might think. At first, the woman in the blue vest looked completely normal, smiling as she walked backward. But then, her head turned all the way around, not once, but twice. The motion is unnatural and completely impossible for a human. Watch this moment again and see if you can make some sense out of it. Ghost in room. When the boy in this video was relaxing in his room, he had no idea what was about to happen. Out of nowhere, an invisible force grabbed his leg and yanked him back with great force. The boy immediately leapt to his feet with terror and ran out of the room. And what's stranger is that as he bolted outside, the door next to the exit creaked open on its own, almost like the unseen presence had walked right through it. Paranormal activity.
反正你得多费心，知不知道？
This woman had just moved into an apartment that she got at a cheap price, and after staying here for just a week, she found out why. Some strange things used to happen which caught her off guard, so she decided to record this video to talk about those disturbing experiences. As she was recording, the door behind her opened on its own.
是吧？那最近你得注意。
She paused mid-sentence to look around, but decided to ignore it. But something more eerie happened right after. The chair behind her began rocking on its own, tipping backward like an invisible entity was on it.
反正你得多费心思啊。
Seeing this was too much for her, so she left the apartment and later asked the landlord for a refund. Spirit possession. A couple was enjoying their weekend, but the man kept hearing a strange voice from behind the woman, so he decided to record it. They were paranormal investigators who collected souvenirs from their cases and hung them on the wall. But hanging their most recent souvenir was a mistake. There was a clown-like doll on the wall behind the woman, and suddenly it began to move on its own.
You killed your mother, you killed...
At first, it seemed like it had just slipped off the swing, but the person filming it didn't have a good feeling about it, so he kept recording. That's when it happened. The doll suddenly outstretched its arms, like it was alive. The cameraman finally got scared, startling the woman, who screamed and jumped off the couch. The video ended abruptly as they tried to get away from the doll. Trampoline horror.
Look, there's somebody in the trampoline, but there's not somebody in the trampoline.
A woman decided to turn her backyard into a fun space for her kids, so she installed a trampoline. But what she captured next was beyond anything she expected. It looked like an invisible entity was jumping on the trampoline because its surface dipped mysteriously, like a ghost was playing on it. This kept on going for more than 3 hours, and the woman was so shaken after seeing this that she decided to return the trampoline.
It's getting out, but there's nothing. Oh my god.
Graveyard turkey.
Bro, for so long now, like 10, I just started looking 10 minutes ago, but it's probably been doing this all day. Like, what is going on?
This woman had come to the graveyard to grieve a friend, but what she saw left her disturbed. Just a few steps away, a lone turkey was continuously circling a tombstone. She had been there for more than 10 minutes, and not once did this turkey stop. In fact, she had no idea how long it had been doing this before she even got there. What's even more unsettling is that the turkey didn't seem to notice her at all, like it was in some sort of a trance, and it was acting like it was hypnotized. Netizens speculated that it was a strange ritual that the turkey was doing for its owner.
It's been circling it in circles for so long.
Haunted gym equipment. No one dares to walk past this outdoor gym after dark because it comes alive at night. Each evening, the fitness equipment begins moving on its own. Locals say that this starts right after 10 p.m., and it looks like invisible bodies are using that equipment. And those who dare to walk by this area after that have even heard strange voices. But what's even more unsettling is the nearby park, where an eerie, childlike figure has been spotted playing on the swings in a creepy way. Would you dare to step on this equipment at night? Last moments. A grandson captured this chilling footage during the final moments of his grandmother's life. She lay quietly in her hospital bed, and it was just the two of them in the room. But then her grandmother said something spine-chilling.
What is amazing, Mom?
Can you see this little pink girl here?
The pink girl?
You can't.
No, I can't see the pink girl.
She kept seeing a little girl standing in front of her. Although the room was silent, she also said that someone was having a party in there. Now, either she was hallucinating, or maybe she was seeing spirits from the afterlife that had come to take her away.
What do you think?
There's one. All Taylor Doyle.
Pet store ghost. This eerie footage comes from a pet store in West Virginia. It was captured after business hours, when no one was supposed to be inside. A dog was calmly walking through the store, when suddenly it jumped into the air. It looked like someone had pushed it, but the dog was reacting to something invisible, because there was no one else in that store. Whatever it was, it had clearly startled the animal, but it never appeared on camera. Hallway horror. A man was walking down the hallway late at night, heading toward his apartment, when his night took a terrifying turn. Out of nowhere, a tall, shadowy figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It was much taller than the man, and within seconds, it began to drag him backward. He struggled but couldn't break free. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the dark figure vanished, and only then the man was able to free himself from its grasp. He was so shaken and terrified that he immediately got up and ran in the opposite direction. Ghostly face. It was supposed to be an ordinary music performance, but something else lurked in the background. As the cameraman was recording the band, he captured another face in the video, a face that didn't belong to any of the band members. The face was completely ghostly, with white skin, dark eyes, and long black hair. It seemed to be staring right at the band, but they all kept on performing, unaware of the terrifying face that was staring at them all along. Creepy woman. As a bus passenger was looking out the window, he captured an eerie woman. The woman was clicking her photo with her camera, but the longer you watch her, the more disturbing her behavior becomes. Her body was locked in one place, and her face was stretched in a creepy smile. It was only her hand that seemed to move the camera back and forth repeatedly. The gesture was robotic and unnatural, and even when the bus began to move again, her eerie behavior did not stop. Street apparition. A CCTV camera in Jaipur captured something that has left people baffled. At first, it looked like a smoky figure was moving down the road, but then the mist began to take shape. It took the form of a person riding a bicycle. Just moments later, the figure faded back into smoke and continued moving. This couldn't have been a camera glitch because everything else in the frame was perfectly normal, but it was clear that a person did form out of mysterious smoke. Gym nightmare. The security camera footage from a gym captured a trainer acting strangely. He seemed to be talking to someone in front of him, but there was no one else there. When the watchman asked him who he was talking to, the trainer said that a visitor had walked in just before closing the gym. But then, the watchman showed him this footage. That's when the trainer realized that the visitor was no ordinary person. It was something inhuman. He couldn't stop shaking with fear as he watched himself talking to an entity that no one else could see. He got so scared after this that he never stayed late at the gym again. Dog spirits. Back in 2017, a woman named Julietta faced a terrible loss. Her two puppies, Ori and Lucky, had passed away, and she adopted another dog just a few weeks later. But one night, she heard the sound of multiple dogs in her living room, so she checked her security camera, and what she saw shocked her. There were two dogs running across the floor, their bodies slightly translucent, and the new dog silently stared at them from the couch. After seeing the footage, Julietta believed it was the spirits of Ori and Lucky returning to their home one last time. Mirror presence. A man felt a strange presence lurking behind the mirror, something he couldn't explain. So he held up an old photo near the edge of the frame, almost like he was trying to lure out whatever it was. Suddenly, the photo was yanked behind the mirror, like there was someone behind it that snatched it away. But the mirror was on a solid piece of wall with no opening whatsoever, so no one person or animal could possibly fit behind it. Alien captured. A home surveillance camera in California captured this video at around 1 a.m. After the camera detected movement outside the house, it notified the owner. When he checked the footage, he saw someone walking past his house. He grew suspicious of this hooded figure, and it only got worse when the owner zoomed in. It wasn't a man at all. It was a mysterious creature with gray skin, an oversized head that looked much bigger than its body, appearing almost alien-like. Just as the figure walked out of sight, a strange loud noise followed right after it. It's not clear what the creature was or where the sound had come from, but one thing was clear. Whatever the camera had captured did not belong to this world. Mysterious white figure.
Kind of going on.
A doorbell cam footage from the US captured a chilling moment late at night. The woman, Heather Paul, was standing outside with her husband and kids when she noticed a white figure walking behind her. It looked like a woman in a long white dress. Heather ignored the figure at first, but she couldn't shake the unsettling feeling. She turned back to see it again, but it had vanished completely. Heather couldn't understand where it had gone, but the camera had captured everything. When she turned her back to the figure, the entity dematerialized completely, like it didn't really have a solid form. She was so shaken that even her kids asked her what was wrong, but she had no answers.
What did you say? What did you say, Mommy?
Haunted house.
Mama!
When the family moved to another house, their excitement for a new journey ended really fast, because terrifying things began happening immediately when one of the family members decided to record this video. An unseen force seemed to make its presence known to her. An invisible entity was opening the cabinets and throwing the objects out. The woman was crying out with fear as everything else kept falling apart mysteriously. It was clear that their house was already occupied, and whatever entity lived in it was not happy about the new homeowners, and that's why it was trying to scare them away.
Mama! Oli!
Ghost chair. A babysitter was looking after the young boy when she started getting an unsettling feeling. It was just the two of them in the house, but she could hear footsteps nearby, like someone else was walking in the room. So she started recording this video. That's when something terrifying happened. Right behind the boy, the empty chair began to rock really fast, as if an invisible person had taken a seat and was moving it. The boy immediately ran away from the chair, but even when the babysitter decided to call his mother home, the chair did not stop moving. Airy man. The person recording his late-night walk came across a strange sight. A man was balanced on top of a pole in a way that was physically impossible. His arms were swaying slightly, and he was balancing at such a strange angle that it seemed like he could fall at any moment. But he didn't fall. Now, either he had insane core strength, or maybe this was witchcraft in action. Creepy woman. It was past midnight when the cameraman decided to walk down the street, but he noticed something eerie when he walked by this house. The woman inside was behaving in an unsettling way, so he decided to record her. She was hunched forward and moving around in a strange manner, like she was dancing awkwardly. Her mouth was moving as if she was speaking to someone, but she was the only person there. Although her body language seemed disturbing, it's possible she was suffering from schizophrenia, which could explain her behavior. But even so, the way she moved and stared into nothingness was deeply unsettling. Scary game. At a school in Spain, a group of friends decided to play a silly game, but it quickly turned into something really serious. They placed two pencils aligned in the shape of a cross on a piece of paper, hoping to contact a supernatural entity, and then a presence finally responded. The pencils moved on its own, shifting without anyone touching it. It was as if something unseen had made contact. The kids immediately screamed and ran, terrified that their little game had actually worked. Translucent entity. Late one night, a security camera near California captured a mysterious entity at night. Everything seemed normal at first, but then suddenly, the street lights started flickering. That's when a mysterious entity appeared in sight. A tall, translucent figure was walking down the street. The entity's body was barely visible, but its head gave off a strange, glowing light when it moved. As it walked away, its translucent body was no longer visible, but its head kept glowing in that eerie way. 7-Eleven Ghost.
Oh, kak bodoh ke Zizo, aku takut, aku dah mau cek.
On the 20th of October 2011, a mysterious entity walked outside a 7-Eleven store in Malaysia. It looked like a woman with a white cloth draped over the shoulders, but it wasn't really a woman. It had a gray, ashy face that couldn't belong to a human, and there didn't seem to be any features on it. Just two pits of darkness where eyes were supposed to be. The ghost-like entity kept staring inside the store, but instead of coming in, it just walked away. Thinking that there was a customer outside, the store owner went out to investigate and couldn't find anyone. But then, the entity returned, and after a few moments, it vanished in the blink of an eye.
Masuk mandi lah Zizo. Kamu ke dia. Foto tak?
Unexplainable shadow. Something mysterious just happened in this old warehouse, and no one has an explanation. The door slowly closed on its own. But that's not the only creepy thing that happened. If you look very closely, you'll see a shadow move on the wall right next to the door. Although it's very faint, it looks like the shadow of a person. The man who uploaded this video also explained that this door was too old and heavy to move on its own, and there was nothing in the room that could have cast such a shadow, which makes this video even creepier. Final breaths. While a terminally ill woman was taking her last breaths, the video revealed something eerie right beside her. It looked like a glowing, otherworldly entity was trying to reach out to her with its arm outstretched. It couldn't have been a glare in the camera lens either, because the patient could clearly see the entity as well. The doctors had no idea what it was, but many cultures believe that a guardian angel appears in a person's final moments, and maybe this was one of them. Haunted house. Every time this man returned home from work, something felt off, because most things were no longer where he left them. He suspected that someone was breaking into his house while he was away, so he set up cameras. But the truth was far from human. Everything in his house was moving on its own, as if an invisible force was living there. His vacuum cleaner turned on its own. Doors moved without a wind, and cabinets flew open like someone had opened them with great force. However, there was no person in the videos, and that's when he realized that it wasn't an intruder messing with his things all this time, so he immediately decided to move out of the house. Hospital ward spirit. The CCTV camera captured a chilling moment inside one of the hospital wards. It was around 2 a.m., and there were no patients in that ward. But the footage doesn't show the ward to be empty. A white figure could be seen floating in the air. Its shape eerily resembled that of a person, but it was clearly not human. It moved silently over the beds, hovering as if it was searching for someone. The spirit eventually moved out of sight, and the hospital staff believed that this was perhaps the spirit of a patient who had passed away in this ward. Strange shadow. In the unsettling footage, a man was standing in front of a wall with his arm raised, but as he walked away, his shadow remained on the wall. The eerie moment quickly went viral and confused viewers, but in reality, this video showed a thermal imaging phenomenon. The man's body blocked infrared radiation from warming the wall behind him. A thermal camera captured this difference in temperature, so when he moved away, the wall behind him remained cooler for a short time, leaving behind a ghostly thermal shadow that seemed to linger in place. Mysterious man teleportation. Everything seemed normal in the CCTV footage, but as a car drove by on an empty road, someone mysteriously appeared right behind it. It was an old man who looked like he'd fallen out of the car's trunk, but the trunk was completely shut, so there was no way he could have jumped out of it. However, the mystery does not end there. As the man slowly stood up to walk, his body faded away, as if he wasn't really human, and his body was made out of smoke. Haunted doll. At a haunted house museum, one visitor decided to film the most feared room in the entire building. It was a room filled with eerie dolls. Each doll had been sent from families who said they were possessed by spirits. But for years, the dolls have remained quiet and unmoving in the museum until the visitor recorded a chilling moment. One of the dolls suddenly moved, its head twisting to one side, as if it was trying to look at someone. It happened fast, but one thing was clear, that whatever spirits possessed them years ago were still inside these dolls. Mysterious presence. Despite living alone, this homeowner felt like he wasn't the only one inside, so he set up cameras throughout the house. And one night, the camera recorded something chilling. He walked into the living room and closed the curtains, but after he left, the curtains slid open again. This couldn't have been a draft, because they were clearly parted from the middle. The man noticed it and closed them once more, but they just opened again. Since no one else could be seen on camera, this could only mean one thing, that there was definitely a ghost inside that house. Hotel nightmare.
Nah.
Yeah,
This video was uploaded on the YouTube channel Celtic Dabs. The man had rented a room in a hotel, but his stay took a terrifying turn. Just as he was about to go to bed, something began moving under the covers. It looked like a small animal crawling beneath the sheets. But when he smacked the blanket, the lump vanished instantly. There was nothing underneath the sheets. It wasn't an air pocket either, because it was moving in a unique pattern, and the uploader called this one of his creepiest encounters ever.
Let me hit it now.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Bro.
Hospital mystery. Strange things were happening inside this hospital ward. The patients who were admitted there were getting mysteriously sick, and no treatment seemed to help. Some patients even claimed to see strange things, and when doctors checked the footage, they were even more confused. In the video, a shadowy figure appeared beside one of the sedated patients. For a brief moment, it hovered over his bed. Then it lingered right beside him, and after watching this footage, the doctors had no idea what that strange figure was. Mysterious abduction. You won't believe what this doorbell camera captured. It happened on the 27th of December 2019. The homeowner stepped out of his house, but as he was walking away, he froze. At first, it seemed like a glitch had caused the video to freeze that way, but then something even stranger happened. The man's body shot upward and disappeared into the sky, almost like a UFO had abducted him in the middle of the night. The man still remains missing after this, and it was his fiancée who found this footage 2 weeks later. But even after analyzing it, no one has been able to find any answers. Mysterious land. While hiking deep in the woods of Stone Mountain, this couple stumbled upon something truly bizarre. They thought they were walking on solid ground, but then the ground beneath their feet started to move. The forest floor moved like a giant waterbed, but it didn't really make sense because there was no river, lake, or any other source of water nearby. The hikers were so baffled by the strange bouncy land that they just kept bouncing on it. Mysterious nightlight. In 2021, the sky in New York City lit up in a mysterious way, and no one could explain what caused it. It was around 1 a.m. when a bright light filled the night sky. The light was flashing rapidly and changing colors fast. But what makes this video so mysterious is that there were no clouds or thunderstorms that night. So this couldn't have been lightning either. There was no clear source of light. And even till this day, experts don't have any answers for this strange phenomenon. Now it's time for the most terrifying footage of the day. For these staff members in Nanning, China, each day at the hospital seems like a nightmare. Water taps turn on by themselves. Patients see things no one else can. And sometimes, the digital weight scale lights up even when no one is on it. But the most terrifying thing happened on the 20th of March, 2024. Two nurses were running down the hallway while looking back, like something was chasing them. They were so terrified that one of them tripped and fell. What's even creepier is that the equipment tables were also moving on their own. Later, the nurses revealed that two translucent figures were chasing them, but those figures weren't captured on camera. What's even more disturbing is that this was just one of the many unexplained things that they had encountered.